Today, we have to refer to the laws of oppositional inference అనేది చూద్దాం అనుకున్నాము. బిఫోర్ స్టార్టింగ్ దిస్ ఒక చిన్న రీక్యాప్ నేను తీసుకుంటాను, ఎందుకైనా కానీ ఒక్కసారి మనకి గుర్తు చేసుకోవడం మంచిదే. స్క్వేర్ ఆఫ్ అపోజిషన్స్ అంటే మనకి ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ లో రీజనింగ్ లో ఉండేటటువంటి 4 పాసిబిలిటీస్ ని ఏఈఐఓల కింద 4 కార్నర్స్ లో పెట్టి ఒక స్క్వేర్ ని కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేశారు. దిస్ మోడల్ ఇస్ గివెన్ బై అరిస్టోటిల్. దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ అరిస్టోటిలియన్ స్క్వేర్ ఆఫ్ అపోజిషన్స్. స్క్వేర్ ఆఫ్ అపోజిషన్స్ అని ఎందుకన్నారంటే ది స్టేటస్ ఆఫ్ అన్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఏ ప్రిమైస్ ఆఫ్ ఏ స్టేట్మెంట్ కెన్ బి లైక్ దిస్. ఏ అనే దాన్ని మనం చెప్పుకున్నాము ఆల్ మెన్ ఆర్ గుడ్. ఏదో ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఎప్పుడు చెప్పుకుందాం మనం, సో దట్ వీ కెన్ ఈజీలీ అండర్స్టాండ్. ఆల్ మెన్ ఆర్ గుడ్, ఇది ఆల్ అని వచ్చింది కనుక యూనివర్సల్ అని అంటాము. ఆర్ గుడ్ అంటే పాజిటివ్ గా చెప్తున్నాం కనుక అఫర్మేటివ్ అంటాము. సో ఏ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యూనివర్సల్ అఫర్మేటివ్ అని అంటాం దీన్ని. సో దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యూనివర్సల్ అఫర్మేటివ్. ఏ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆల్ మెన్ ఆర్ గుడ్. E is universal negative. This also refers to all and it gives the negative opinion, negative character. Therefore, it is called universal negative. Example is all men are not good, or we can say all men are bad. Then we come to I. This is a case of particular reference to a group of the total population, means some are good. A is universal affirmative is all are good. I is particular affirmative. Particular ante some are good. Similarly, O is some are not good. This is particular negative. E is all are not good. This is universal negative. And O some are not good is particular negative. So A, E, I, O are the international denotations given for the Aristotelian square of oppositions. And this AE, the relation between AE, this is called contrary. AE is called contrary, means it is the opposite of this. Contrary to this, A is all men are good. E is all are not good. All men are not good. So these are contraries. So AE is called contrary. And then referring this universal position to a particular position, I is some are good and O is some are not good. So IO is called subcontrary. And then A is all are good. O is some are not good. So this is a contradiction, not totally contrary to A, but it is contradicting the statement A. Therefore, this is called a contradictory. And similarly, all are not good is E. Some are good is in contradiction to the statement E. Therefore, EI is also called contradictory. Therefore, AO and EI are contradictories. And then AI, that means all are good and some are good. Similarly, E and O, all are not good, some are not good. This is just alternations between universal and particular. Therefore, these are called subalternatives or subalternations or subalterns briefly. So this is how we denote these things. Now, we are going into the rules. Certain rules or laws which govern the relations or the cases of contrary, subcontrary, contradictories, and subalterns. Now, we'll go to that. So this I wanted to give you a recap so that you get a fresh with reference to these terms. Now, we'll see the relations between these different things. We'll go here. This is what is called laws of oppositional inference. A law of contrary, immediately you must be able to visualize that picture, that square of oppositions, Aristotelian square of oppositions. Contrary opposition means all are good and all are not good. A and E, this is the contrary. So law of contrary opposition is between the contraries. The relation is like this. And between A and E, the relation is if one is true, the other is false. Here what you have to do is, అది ఒక్కసారి మీ ముందు విజువలైజ్ చేసుకొని మీరు ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పేస్తాను, బాగానే ఉంటుంది. మీరు లాజికల్గా ఆలోచించి అండర్స్టాండ్ చేసుకోవాలి. మీరు ఒక్కరూ కూర్చున్నప్పుడు చూడండి, మనం పైన చెప్పుకున్న దాన్ని బట్టి ఇది. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ ప్రతి చోట you have to consider the statement. ఆ స్టేట్మెంట్ ని బట్టి ఈ రిలేషన్ అర్థం చేసుకోవాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఏ ఈస్ ఆల్ ఆర్ గుడ్, ఈ ఈస్ ఆల్ ఆర్ నాట్ గుడ్, ఏ ఈస్ కాంట్రరీ. Therefore law of contrary is if one is true the other is false. This is one rule. Why we are knowing about these rules, this position, this status of this position or relation, status of relation between A and E or A and I or E and O or all these things. Why we are knowing? Because these will appear in your examinations as either questions true or false, or in matching, or in whatever manner they can appear as questions. These are important things. So in law of contrary of opposition, if one is true, the other is false. That means if all men are good is true, obviously, think logically. If all men are true, I say that is A is correct. Then all men are not good is certainly wrong. Is it not? I think you follow these things. If you have any doubts, please raise then and there. If one is true, the other is false. This is one relation between A and D. And then if one is false, the ఇప్పుడు నాకు చెప్పండి, suppose this here is we have all men are good. I say all men are good. Then what happens to E all men are not good is definitely false if all men are good is true. If all men are good is false, what can you say about E? Tell me. If మీరు ప్రాంప్ట్ చేయండి ఎవరైనా పర్వాలేదు. If all men are good, I say is wrong, is false. Then what is the status of E? Can we say when all men are good is wrong, does it lead to all men are not good? Can we say that?
No.
Correct. No. Why?
No.
Why? Because when I say all men are good is wrong, some men may be good. We do not know
Good.
whether all are wrong or some are good and some are bad. I am only saying all men are good statement is wrong. A statement is wrong. When I say A statement is false, it is not necessary that all are bad. All are not good. Some can be good and some can be not good. Then also the statement A becomes false. Therefore, when one is false and the other case also is just a replica of this. When you say E is false, you cannot say A is definitely correct. Similarly, on similar lines. Therefore, if one is false, that is, if I say either A or E are false, then the other thing you cannot say its status is doubtful. You cannot say whether it is totally true or not. But when one is true, either A or E, you can definitely say the other is false. I think you understood these two things. Then the third one, both cannot be true, but both can be false. These are very important. You will definitely get question, at least one or two on these rules. Both cannot be true, but both can be false. Understand? A is all are good, B is all are not good. Both cannot be true because when all are good is correct, all are not good is definitely false. When all are not good is correct, all are good is definitely false. Therefore, both can never be true simultaneously. But when I say all are good is false, what happens to E? It can also be false. It can also be false. So both can be false simultaneously. Therefore, the rule relating to contrary is both. Both means A and E cannot be true at the same time, but both can be false at the same time. So these three are the positions between A and E in the contrary. So these are important. These will appear as questions, either true or false or whatever shape it is. Then now we go to law of contradictory oppositions. What are contradictories? వెంటనే మీరు ఎవరైనా ప్రాంప్ట్ చేస్తుండండి, బాగుంటుంది, అలవాటు అవుతుంది. వాట్ ఆర్ కాంట్రడిక్టరీస్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్
ఏఓఈఐ కాంట్రడిక్ట్.
కరెక్ట్, యు ఆర్ ఎక్సలెంట్. ఎస్, AO and EI are contradictories. Now what can be the laws relating to these things? If one is true, the other must be false. What is A? All are good. What is O? some are not good.
Some
If
are
I,
not good.
yes, if I say if one is true, all are good is true, what happens to the O statement? Some are not good is definitely false, is it not? When I say all are good is correct,
Yes.
some are not good
Yes.
is wrong. And similarly, when I say some are not good is correct, all are good is definitely wrong. Therefore,
Yes.
between A and O, and similarly E and I, you can draw it from the analogy, you can understand it. I need not repeat, I think. So, similarly, between E and I means all are not good and some are good. Between these two also, if one is true, the other is necessarily false. If one is false, what is the status of the other thing? Say, again, we consider A, O. All are good. All are good, I say, is false. Then some are not good is definitely true. If some are not good is true, all are not good may also be true. But O is some are not good. This is necessarily true. When I say all are good is false, some are not good is definitely true. Therefore, if one is false, the other is true. Similar is the case with E and I also. So two rules are between contradictories. That means A and O, E and I. If one is true, the other must be false. If one is false, the other must be true. Then both can never be true or false at the same time. They cannot be true at the same time. When I say all are good is right, some are not good is definitely wrong. When I say, similarly, when I say all are good is false, some are not good is definitely not false. So therefore, both can never be true or false at the same time. Both means A and O or E and I. So these three are the rules relating to contradictories. I hope you followed these things. And the next one is law of subcontrary. Subcontrary, what is subcontrary, Andy?
ఐకి ఐకి ఓకి మధ్యలో సబ్
IO, yeah, exactly. IO is the subcontrary. I is some are good. O is some are not good. Now we'll see the status. If one is false, I say some are good is false. The other one, that is some are not good, is definitely true. I say some are good is false. Some are good is false means some are not good అనేది it holds. Therefore, if one is false, and the similar is the case when some are not good is false, some are good is definitely true. Therefore, if one is false, the other one is necessarily true. If one is true, if I say some are good is true. If I say some are good is true, is it necessary that some are not good is also true or false? You cannot say that
No, maybe
because
we cannot.
if I say some are good is true, all are good also may be the case, is it not? It is not, when I say some are good, it is not necessary that the other some are bad or not good. It's not necessary. We don't know about the status of those people. We are not giving you any data about the other people. Therefore, when I say some are good is true or some are not good is true, we cannot say the status of the other one. Therefore, the other one is doubtful. So, if one is true, the other one is doubtful. Then, coming here, both may be true, and some are good and some are not good. Yes, both can be true simultaneously. There's nothing wrong here. At the same time, some are good is correct, some are not good is correct. They can be. So both may be true at the same time or simultaneously, but both cannot be false, obviously. Because when I say some are good, some are good is false, some are not good is definitely not necessarily is not false. It definitely it is not false. Therefore, both cannot be false simultaneously. So you have to keep these sentences AEIO and looking at those things, read these rules and try to understand the logic behind them. You will easily understand that. Take a little time and understand it thoroughly because these will appear as questions and you should not require any time to answer those questions. Immediately you should be able to answer. You will get used to that, no problem. Then coming to law of subalternations, if the universal is subalternations ante what?
AIUO. AIUO.
Correct. Now, A is universal because all. I is particular because it is sum. Similarly, E is universal and O is particular. If the universal is true, corresponding particular, what happens to that? If I say all are good, some are good is necessarily true, is it not? All are good. The total population is good. Some of that is definitely good. When all are good, some are good is also true. Therefore, when universal is true, corresponding particular is also true. Means when A is true, I is necessarily true. Similarly, when I say all are not good is correct, some are not good is definitely correct. So EI also same relation. When universal is true, the particular is also true. When the universal is false, what happens to the particular? Means all are good. If I say all are good is false, some are good. Can you say some are good is also false or right? You cannot say that. When all are good is false, all may be false, or all may not be good, or some may not be good. Therefore, we cannot exactly state the status of the particular. Therefore, the particular here is doubtful. When universal is false, the particular is doubtful. Then coming to if the particular is true, what is the status of the universal? Means I say some are good is true, some are good is true. If some are good is true, can you say all are good? No, definitely not. Some are good is correct means some can be bad or all can be good also. Both can happen. Therefore, the universal is doubtful. When you say some are good is true, the universal is doubtful. You cannot say the remaining some are bad or they are also good. It's not clear from the given data. If I say the particular is false, అంటే some are good false అయితే యూనివర్సల్ సమ్ ఆర్ గుడ్ ఫాల్స్ అయితే ఆల్ ఆర్ గుడ్ డెఫినెట్ గా ఫాల్స్. ఎందుకంటే సమ్ ఆర్ ఫాల్స్ అయినప్పుడు సమ్ ఆర్ గుడ్ అనేది ఫాల్స్ అయినప్పుడు దీస్ సమ్ ఆర్ కంటైన్డ్ ఇన్ ది ఆల్ కనుక సో ఆల్ ఆర్ గుడ్ అనే దాంట్లో ఫాల్సిటీ ఉన్నది కనుక ఆల్ ఆర్ గుడ్ అనేది డెఫినెట్ గా ఫాల్స్. దేర్ ఫోర్ ఇఫ్ ది పర్టికులర్ ఈస్ ఫాల్స్, ది యూనివర్సల్ ఈస్ సర్టన్లీ false. So these are the laws relating to the subalterns. These things you please just review once, keeping the 4 statements before you and reading these things, understand these things. It's very easy. I think by now you understood these things very much. Okay, so now we have completed these laws relating to contrary, contradictories, subcontrary, and subalternations. So this we have seen. Now, we learned something about reasoning. What is reasoning? Reasoning is classified into 3 types. The reasoning can be, reasoning means which you give in support of your statement or how you deduce your conclusion from the given statements, given premises. This is what is called reasoning. So reasoning can be in 3 types. One is deductive reasoning. The other one is inductive reasoning. And the third one is abductive reasoning. What is deductive reasoning? Deductive reasoning means here deduction itself suggests that you are deducing the conclusion from the available premise or premises. Wakati, when you have a general statement, how can you apply it to a particular instance? This is what is called deductive reasoning. When you have a particular statement, how can you apply it to the, or how can you generalize it or apply it in general? This is what is called inductive reasoning. దీనికి నేను మీకు గుర్తు పెట్టుకున్నది ఒక షార్ట్ కట్ చెప్పాను. డిడక్టివ్ రీజనింగ్ డీజీపీ అని గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి. అదే అంటే డైరెక్టర్ జనరల్ ఆఫ్ పోలీస్ మనకు గుర్తుండే మాట కనుక డీజీపీ మీన్స్ డిడక్టివ్ రీజనింగ్ మీన్స్ గోయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ జనరల్ టు పర్టిక్యులర్, జనరల్ టు పర్టిక్యులర్. ఇది ఇందులో మనకి ఇక్కడ రీజనింగ్కి వచ్చేటప్పటికి మనం ఏమంటామంటే ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ని బై యువర్ రీజనింగ్ యువర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ కెన్ బి వ్యాలిడ్ ఆర్ ఇన్వాలిడ్. ట్రూ ఫాల్స్ అనేది ఉండదు ఇక్కడ, ట్రూ ఆర్ ఫాల్స్ అనేది ఉండదు. ఎందుకంటే యూఆర్ అప్లయింగ్ వన్ కండిషన్ టు ఏ పర్టికులర్ కండిషన్ ఆర్ ఏ పర్టికులర్ కండిషన్ టు ఏ జనరల్ కండిషన్. సో ఇక్కడ ఐ మీన్ ఏ జనరల్ కండిషన్ టు ఏ పర్టికులర్ కండిషన్. సో ఇక్కడ వ్యాలిడ్ ఆర్ ఇన్వాలిడ్ అనేది మాత్రమే ఇక్కడ చెప్తాం. ఇది మీకు when we look at the examples, you will understand it thoroughly. So ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే జనరల్ టు పర్టికులర్కి వచ్చినప్పుడు ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఈజ్ వ్యాలిడ్ ఇఫ్ ది ప్రిమైసెస్ ఆర్ ట్రూ. అంటే ప్రిమైసెస్ we understand always there is a syllogism means we have two premises and a reason and a conclusion. ఇందులో ఈ ప్రిమైసెస్ ట్రూ అయినట్లయితే ది కంక్లూజన్ మస్ట్ బి ట్రూ. ఇది when the conclusion is true we say ది ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఈస్ వ్యాలిడ్. దీన్ని ఇలా చెప్తామంటే ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూపిస్తాను చూడండి. ఐ సే పోయిట్స్ ఆర్ ఆనెస్ట్, మోహన్ ఈజ్ ఏ పోయట్. దెన్ వాట్ ఈస్ ది కన్క్లూజన్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్? పోయిట్స్ ఆర్ ఆనెస్ట్, మోహన్ ఈజ్ ఏ పోయట్ మీన్స్ ది కన్క్లూజన్ ఈజ్ మోహన్ ఈజ్ ఆనెస్ట్. This can be valid until we are reducing this conclusion from the two given premises and the deduced conclusion is correct if these two statements are correct. These two premises are correct. Means Mohan must be a poet. It should not be false statement. Poets are honest. This also should be, poets are honest means all poets are honest. We have English important and this is a universal statement. Poets are honest means all poets are honest. Even though you are not finding all there, understand it is there. It's a generalized statement. So all poets are honest. Mohan is a poet. Then Mohan is also honest. Mohan is honest provided this conclusion is a valid conclusion, provided these two premises are correct, true. If the two premises are correct, then this statement is correct. This is what is called a deductive reasoning. This is one way. Inkokati, deductive reasoning means from a general statement to a particular statement. That is also another way of expressing it. This we will see a little later. That inductive reasoning, opposite of this. This is a particular case shall be generalized, or particular case of a particular observation is applied in general. Here, particular to general. అంటే ఇది DGP అని గుర్తుపెట్టుకున్నాం కనుక naturally this is inductive is from particular to general, opposite of deductive. Inductive argument can be strong or weak. Here we say, in case of deductive argument, deductive reasoning, we say the reasoning is either valid or invalid. Ikkada we say the reasoning is either strong or weak, not valid or invalid. The reasoning is strong or weak. For example, let us look this example. I say Mohan is a cricketer. I am talking about some cricketers, some players who are good at cricket. Mohan is a cricketer and he is good in maths. Gopal is a cricketer and he is good in maths. Sriram is a cricketer and he is good in maths. Means all these people, Mohan, Gopal and Sriram are cricketers and all of them are good in maths. These are particular statements, different particular statements, particular cases. Now I am generalizing it as cricketers are good in maths. I am generalizing it as cricketers are good in maths. You cannot say valid or invalid here. ఈజ్ ఇట్ స్ట్రాంగ్ ఆర్ వీక్ అనేది మాత్రమే మనం చెప్పగలము. ఎందుకని నార్మల్గా ఎంతమంది క్రికెటర్స్ గుడ్ అట్ మ్యాథ్స్ అయినప్పుడు ఆల్ క్రికెటర్స్ ప్రాబబ్లీ ఆర్ గుడ్ అట్ మ్యాథ్స్ అని మనం వీ కెన్ రిడ్యూస్. ఇట్ కెన్ బి వీక్ ఆర్ స్ట్రాంగ్. వీ కెనాట్ సే దట్. ఇట్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ది పర్టికులర్ సబ్జెక్ట్, పర్టికులర్ టాపిక్. సో దిస్ కెన్ బి ఐదర్ వీక్ ఆర్ స్ట్రాంగ్. Here it can be valid or invalid. It is valid if the given premises are true. If it is invalid if the given premises are not true. This is how we know about deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. And then the third one is abductive reasoning. Abductive reasoning means it's an educated guess on the basis of our available given data. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, నాకు ఇప్పుడు ఏదో ఒక కంప్లైంట్ చేసిందో, ఒక జలుబు చేసిందో, ఫీవర్ వచ్చిందో, ఆర్ ఏదో సంథింగ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఏ కంప్లైంట్. ఐ గో టు ఏ డాక్టర్. వెన్ ఐ గో టు ఏ డాక్టర్, డాక్టర్ asks, what is your problem? Then I will describe my problem. Actually, when the problem is such a peculiar problem which cannot be exactly expressed by the patient. It cannot be expressed by the patient totally. He can only give some symptoms and his feelings or his pains and all that. But he cannot exactly say where it is paining, how it is paining, అని చెప్పలేకపోతాడు. But it's not enough for the doctor. Doctor has to have the exact diagnosis of the problem. Therefore, what doctor does here, he makes a guesswork. Based on the data points given by the patient, he makes a guesswork, and by his guess, he can understand the totally true problem. What is the true problem is there అనేది he knows. So that guesswork is what is called abductive reasoning. It's an educated guess on the basis of our observation and incomplete information. Patients cannot identify all symptoms of their ailment. కొన్ని చెప్తాం, కొన్ని చెప్పం, కొన్ని మనం చెప్పలేని విధంగా ఉంటాయి. But doctor guesses the precise cause based on patient's incomplete information. This is what is called abductive reasoning. Here, the conclusion is obtained by is arrived at by abductive reasoning. So we have three types of reasoning: deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and abductive reasoning. Now, again, we are just looking at what is an argument. What is argument? Argument means you will put forth some reasoning on your behalf to claim that the statement put forth by you is correct. Ante kada. A form of reasoning to establish the truth of one's claim, that means conclusion, based on the assumed truth of evidence, based on the assumed truth of evidence in other claims, called premises, is argument. Ante, we have two premises. The two premises lo, what is, depending upon the truth given in the evidence in the two premises, you are drawing a conclusion, and you put forth a reason why your conclusion, or you put forth a claim that your conclusion is correct. This is what is called an argument. This we have already seen. Now we have certain varieties, types of arguments. We refer to arguments in different ways. The argument can be sound, we say a sound argument, or an unsound argument, a valid argument, or an invalid argument. Like this, we refer what is a sound argument and what is a valid argument. If we see at an example, we understand what it is. Now, look at this example. No person aged less than 18 years can vote. See, this is the rule. No person aged less than 18 years can vote. Then the second statement is, a voter can register for voter card. This is the second statement. From these two statements, what is the conclusion? No person aged less than 18 years can register for voter card. So this is the conclusion, because a voter can register for voter card. Who is a voter? A voter is he who is not less than 18 years of age. Therefore, no person aged less than 18 years can register for voter card. Here, the conclusion is logical. Logically, it is correct. From the logic, I think you are following this. The conclusion is logical, and hence the argument is called valid argument. When the conclusion is logically arrived, we call it a valid argument. Understand the difference between valid argument and sound argument. It happens only if you understand what is a valid argument. A valid argument is that which is logically correct from the given two premises. That's all. We are not bothered about truth here. Then the premises are true in reality. If the premises given are true in reality, the conclusion is certainly true. We have seen the rules also, because when the given premises are, both the premises given are true, the conclusion is definitely true. Therefore, if these premises given here are true in reality, because the conclusion is also true in reality, when the conclusion is true in reality, that is called a sound argument. Means when two premises are given and you are deducing a conclusion from the given two premises, if it is logically correct, just logically correct, it is called a valid argument, if it is logically correct. And if the premises given are true, as the conclusion is automatically held true, that is also called a sound argument. Means a argument in reality, a true argument. It's a sound argument. Therefore, Here, no person aged less than 80 years can vote. It is the true status. Similarly, a voter can register for voter card. Means he becomes a voter when he attains 18 years of age. Therefore, this is also a true statement. As both the premises given are true, the conclusion that no person aged less than 18 years can register for voter card is also true. Therefore, not only logically correct. This conclusion is not only logically correct, but also it is a true argument. It's a true conclusion. Therefore, this is called a valid argument. That means this conclusion is called a valid argument. Okay? The argument given for arriving at this conclusion is both valid and also sound. This is what is called a sound argument and a valid argument. We'll see other examples. Then what is unsound argument but valid argument? Unsound but valid argument means argument valid means from the given premises, the conclusion is logically correct. But in reality, it may not be correct. Then then we say the reasoning is valid, but it is not sound, means it is unsound. Example. All laptop screens are made of diamonds. Understand this. All laptop screens are made of diamonds. This is one statement. The other statement says diamonds cost very less. Conclusion. Therefore, laptop screens cost very less. So logically, all laptop screens are made of diamonds and diamonds cost very less. Therefore, laptop screens logically must cost very less because the diamonds cost very less. So logically, this argument is correct. Therefore, all laptop screens cost very less. So from the given two statements, the conclusion is logically correct. Means the conclusion is valid. It's a valid argument. Why we are giving this? The argument we are putting forth is valid because the conclusion is logically correct from the given data of the two premises. But in reality, what is the status of these premises? All laptop screens are made of diamonds. It's not true. Similarly, diamonds cost very less. Is it true? No, it is wrong. Diamonds are very costly, are very expensive. Therefore, in reality, the premises are wrong. Therefore, the conclusion is, we say, is unsound. We don't say it is invalid. The conclusion is valid as per the argument from the given two premises. But as it is not the truth or there is no reality in that, we say the argument is, the conclusion is unsound. This is what is called an unsound argument, though it is a valid argument. Then what is invalid argument? We have seen sound and valid argument, unsound argument but valid argument, and now we are looking at what is an invalid argument. We say all students are intelligent. We are considering here two premises. One is all students are intelligent. The other one is Mohan is intelligent. Therefore, what is the logical conclusion from this? All students are intelligent and Mohan is intelligent. Therefore, I say Mohan is a student. What about this conclusion? It's not necessary. All students are intelligent. True. Mohan is intelligent. Mohan can be intelligent even though he is not a student. Therefore, the logical conclusion drawn here, therefore Mohan is a student, is not valid at all because he need not be a student to be intelligent. He can be otherwise also, even though he is not a student, he can be intelligent. Therefore, Mohan is a student, which is logically correct here, but logically appears to be correct, but it is invalid because Mohan, it's not necessary that Mohan is also a student, or the data does not speak whether Mohan is a student or not a student. So this is called an invalid argument. Then we say a cogent argument. Cogent is another term given for sound. Cogent argument means, it just means a sound argument. Sound argument is also called a cogent argument. I think you are clear. I have consolidated these points which we have read before. Just you can keep the AIO statements before you. And similarly, this valid, sound, and invalid statements before you. and understand these points. The points, they can appear as questions in multiple choice questions in your examinations. One rule is, if the given premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. This we have seen. A valid argument does not have a false conclusion derived from true premises. Understand this sentence. A valid argument, the argument is valid, means logically true. Does not have a false conclusion derived from true premises. A valid argument is that which is drawn from the two premises, and if the two premises are true, the conclusion cannot be false. This is a condition. And then, if the conclusion derived from true premises is false, then the argument is invalid. Conclusion derived from true premises is false. Conclusion cannot be false. When the two premises are true, conclusion must be good. If the conclusion is going wrong, means the argument is invalid. We studied about valid argument and invalid argument. When we have seen the rule that when the given premises are true, the conclusion must be true. Here what we are saying, the given premises are true, but the conclusion is false. That means the argument is invalid. Then, deductive arguments can be valid or invalid. It is valid if the premises are true. Then its conclusion must be true. This is concising the above three rule positions. This is the result. And then, a valid argument cannot have a false conclusion derived from true premises. This is repeated, same thing as above. And then, if the premises of argument and conclusions are true in reality, then the argument is considered sound. This we have seen above. If given premises are true, the conclusion is true. This means it is a valid argument. But if it is not true in reality, it is unsound. So, it's a valid but unsound argument. We have seen this. Premises and conclusions can be true or false. Arguments can be valid or invalid, sound or unsound, strong or weak. So, there can be these varieties in arguments like valid or invalid, sound or unsound, or strong or weak. Then, from two negative premises, conclusion is not no conclusion is possible or conclusion is not possible. From two negative, all men are not good. When we give two premises, both in negative sense, then you cannot draw any conclusion. If one premise is negative, then the conclusion must be negative. In the given two premises, if one premise is positive and the other premise is negative, then the conclusion is automatically negative. If the conclusion, in other words, if you have before you a conclusion which is negative, it underlies that one of the given two premises is definitely negative. Two particular premises yield no valid conclusion. Two particular premises means saying some are good and some are honest. You cannot come to any definite valid conclusion. If any one premise is particular, the conclusion must be particular. If in the two given premises, if one premise happens to be a particular premise, that means addressing to a part of the total population, the conclusion also goes as particular. We can see examples later. So these are the rules relating to these things. Then connotation and denotation. What is connotation? They can be in two different ways, grammatical and logical. Connotation means how you understand a given statement. It can be grammatically and as it appears is one meaning, and logical meaning is other thing. Denotation means the exact meaning how it appears. We can say, మనం సంస్కృతం వాళ్ళం కనుక డెనోటేషన్ అంటే అభిధార్థము, కనోటేషన్ అంటే వ్యంగ్యార్థము. ఎలా గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే మీకు అర్థమైపోతుంది. డినోటేషన్ అండ్ కనోటేషన్స్, ఈ రెండు టర్మ్స్, దీస్ ఆర్ నార్మల్లీ గివెన్ ఇన్ క్వశ్చన్స్, certain questions in examinations. Connotation is that where the meaning can be in two ways. One is grammatical and the other is logical, which is felt by you. Denotation is exactly as given by how it appears. So these are some terms. And then now we'll look at some arguments, some types of arguments. What can be the various types of arguments? We'll look at some types of arguments here. Okay. Conductive argument. Conductive argument are conducive. Here, premises are convergent. Premises convey and support a particular argument. Means conductive argument means both the premises given are convergent. Means they lead to the same answer. Premises convey and support a particular argument. Then naturally we get the conductive argument, the positive argument, depending upon these two premises. The second one is analogous argument. Analogous argument means here conclusion is drawn by analogy. Drawn by analogy means you can see here. Normally, films of Mahesh Babu are all felt to be good. Therefore, a new film is released of Mahesh Babu. We say this film of Mahesh must be a super hit film, as all his other movies. అంటే ఇక్కడ మీకు when we come to a argument or when we come to a conclusion can be in two ways also. It can be from two different statements, from two premises, or one premise which is linked by as or because. That we'll see a little later. This is one like that. This film of Mahesh must be a super hit film as all his other movies. This is what is called an analogous argument. Here, argument means you are giving a reasoning. You are giving a reasoning based on analogy. As generally all his films are hit films, this film also must be a hit film. This is what is called an analogous argument. Means we are now studying about reasoning. Therefore, here the reasoning is by analogy. Then circular argument or transcendental argument. Both are same. Circular argument or transcendental argument. Transcendental means when you come to the starting point, again, after the argument is over. See, the argument ends at a place where it has started. మన జీతాలు డిఏలు ఇదే లెక్క దానికి. If there is a hike in prices, wages have to be increased. అంతే కదా. When the price index goes high, our dearness allowance will be increased. When dearness allowance or salaries are increased, rates automatically go high in the market. So again, we have come to the starting point. So if there is a hike in prices, wages have to be increased. If wages increase, then prices will increase. We come to the first point. Because the prices increased, we have to hike the wages. So we come to the starting point where we have started. So this is what is called a circular argument and or a transcendental argument. Then the other one is relational argument. Correct, Venkat Subbay garu. Your observation and your statement is correct. That is an analogous argument. Relational argument. What is a relational argument? Here premises and conclusion are relational. అంటే ఇక్కడ premises are given. We make a conclusion. There's a relation between the premises and conclusion. There's a relation. How this relation is and what is that relation, we'll look. Relations are categorized differently based on their characteristics. How these premises are related. అంటే the matter given in the two premises and the conclusion are related. These relations can be in different ways. And how these relations are given, we'll now go into that. And depending upon those relations, we give a reasoning and make an argument. This is what is called a relational argument. Here see types of relational arguments. Premises and conclusion are relational. There's a relation between the content given in the premises as well as the conclusion. On the basis of different properties of relations, that means what these relations are, how these relations are, these can be categorized as, we say, depending upon the relation, type of relation, we categorize the relation as either symmetric relations or transitive relations or reflex relations or connex relations. Now we see what is a symmetric relation, what is a transitive relation, what's a reflex or convex relation. This now we'll see. Symmetric relation means, see the relation here, there are two entities here, A and B. We say A is equal to B. Then B automatically becomes A. This is valid. Is equal to means no conditions here. There are no conditions here. So, when A is equal to B, B is equal to A. This is a valid argument, valid reasoning. Automatically it happens. It is between two entities which are equated. This is what is called a symmetric relation. All symmetric relations are valid relations, are valid arguments, are valid reasoning, are valid. So this is how we define these things. So understand the statement from this. All symmetric relations are valid statements, are valid relations, are valid arguments. This is observation. This can appear as a question. Then what are asymmetric relations? If we say A is less than B, can we apply it otherwise, other way around, B is less than A? Definitely not correct. When A is less than B, B is greater than A. Means so, when A is less than B, you cannot symmetrically apply this relation and say B is less than A. It becomes an invalid relation. Therefore, such relations are called invalid relations, asymmetric relations, and all asymmetric relations are invalid. This is the observation. Then non-symmetric relation. What is a non-symmetric relation? I say A is brother of B, A capital A అనుకోండి. If A is brother of B, then B is brother of A. This is what is called a non-symmetric relations. And the relation between A and B is such that A is brother of B, then is it necessary that B is brother of A?
No.
May or may not be valid. It can be valid or cannot be valid. Why?
Be sister also.
Exactly. Can be sister also. Therefore, it can be valid or may not be valid. So, non-symmetric relations are either valid or invalid. We cannot say that. All symmetric relations are valid. All asymmetric relations are invalid. All non-symmetric relations, we are not sure whether they are valid or invalid. So, we have seen those three types of relationships. Now, we come to transitive relationship. What's a transitive relationship? Transitive relationship means the relation between two entities is being transferred to a third entity. See here, if A is equal to B, B is equal to C, there are three entities here, A, B, and C. We are equating B with A and also C with B. Therefore, because B is common, we can say A is equal to C. Automatically, these are equations, equality, complete equality is equal to means complete equality. A is equal to B and B is equal to C. Therefore, A is equal to C. This is a valid argument. This is what is called transitive. Why this is called transitive arguments? Because of their relation with B, A and C are also related. This relation with B is considered to make a relation between A and C. Therefore, it is called a transitive relation. If A is similarly, if A is greater than B, B is greater than C, then necessarily A is greater than C. Automatically, this is valid. Because A is already greater than B, B is also greater than C. Therefore, A must be greater than C. This is also valid. So, these direct transitive relations are valid relations. Then intransitive. Intransitive means if A is daughter of B, B is daughter of C. This is not an equation. C. We are giving a relation here. A is daughter of B. Based on these relations, there will be definitely a question in your examination. If A is daughter of B, B is daughter of C, equation can తీసుకుని A is daughter of C అంటామండి, it becomes invalid. Here, this is an intransitive relation. Why? If A is daughter of B and B is daughter of C, C becomes granddaughter of A. A becomes granddaughter of C. Antegani A does not become daughter of C. So this is an invalid argument. So in such a relationship, the argument goes invalid. This relation is called intransitive relation. You cannot transfer the relation with reference to the middle term. Then non-transitive. If A is friend of B, B is friend of C, ఇక్కడ A is friend of B and B is friend of C. What is the relation between A and C? Logically, A is friend of C. It can be valid or cannot be valid. It cannot be valid also. What is there? A is a friend of B and B is a friend of C. There may not be any relation between A and C, or there can be. Therefore, logical conclusion here may be valid or may not be valid. So, non-transitive relations can be either valid or not valid. Intransitive relations are invalid. Transitive relations are definitely valid. And now we come to this point of reflexivity in relationship. What is a reflexive relation? Value equal to itself. When we say y is equal to y, means 2 plus 2 is equal to 2 plus 2. All same thing. So it's a valid. Reflexive means saying the same thing as the same thing. So it is a valid argument. Naturally, reflexive is a valid argument. Then partial reflexive, and the value equal to something. We say A is as heavy as B. B is as heavy as C. Then A is as heavy as C. It is correct. A is as heavy as B means A is equal to B. B is as heavy as C means, here we are, instead of giving an equal to, we are saying it with reference to a characteristic. B is as heavy as C means A is as heavy as C. This is a valid argument. So this is partial reflexive. It is equal to చెప్పటం లేదు మనం. We are giving a relation. This is what is called a partial reflexive. So a partial reflexive reasoning is valid. Reflexive reasoning is valid. Then what is called irreflexive relationship? Value greater than itself. If A is greater than A, how can it be? A is A. A is a unique entity. So it is only equal to that. It cannot be greater than that. Therefore, this is what is called irreflexive. This is what is called irreflexive relation, and irreflexive relations are invalid relations. Then non-reflexive. A likes itself. Here we are giving a quality. A likes itself. I like myself. Is it true? May be true or may not be true. I made a statement. I know I am not good at certain things. At those points, I may not like myself, my qualities. Therefore, this is what is called non-reflexive. A likes itself. This is what is called a non-reflexive relation. It can be good, it can be valid, or it may not be valid. Then what is connexity? Such a relation is valid between two or more terms, such as 7 is less than 9 is less than 11. ఇటువంటిది రిలేషన్ ని కానెక్స్ రిలేషన్ అంటాం. ఆర్ వీ కెన్ సే 11 is greater than 9 is greater than 7. అట్లా ఏం చెప్పినా దట్ బికమ్స్ ఏ valid relation. That is what is called a connexity in relationship. So this is all connexity relations are valid relations. Reflexive relations are valid relations. Partial reflexive relations are also valid relations. Irreflexive relations are invalid relations. Non-reflexive relations may or may not be valid. Connexity relation is valid. So the example is this. So this is how we study about relationships. Right, Andy? So
ధన్యవాదాలు.
we'll stop here. And again, we'll meet same time tomorrow. Please, Chalbavan. Okay, Andy, thank you. Good night. Tomorrow we'll meet. Bye.
Good night, sir.